Welcome to the Local Pulse on HBC. I'm Dave Dicke, and today we are joined by Mark Zocher. And Mark is, he's got an exciting project that he's kicking off in Winona. It is the Winona Creators Collective and working on getting their doors open. And we're going to learn all about this exciting project happening in Winona. And Mark, thank you for taking time to talk to us today.
Hey, Dave, thanks for having us today.
So let's start off. What brought you, first, a little bit about yourself, and then what brought you to Winona?
All right. Yeah. I've worked in IT for about 20 years. Most recently, my wife and I were living in the Kirkland area, Seattle area in Washington State. And we found, hey, 4 years in, we didn't know any of our neighbors. We didn't have any sort of real strong connection there, and we knew this wasn't the place for us. We didn't know where we wanted to go, so we were both able to work remote. Before COVID, we bought a 40-foot RV and we drove the U.S. for 3.5 years, so we could work around the U.S., try and find different places that could potentially be good homes for us, and ultimately found Winona. We thought it was a great fit between the natural beauty, the arts, the manufacturing. And we knew it was a good fit once we bought a house and our neighbors started reaching out to us before we even took ownership. So we knew, okay, this is a place that we're going to feel like we're at home finally. So that's kind of what brought us into Winona. So now I've been here about 3 years, and after a little while, I started feeling like, Winona could really use a makerspace. A makerspace, if you have never heard of it, it's a community workshop. It's a place where people have access to table saws and pottery wheels and can start a project or start a business or make some neat art or connect with other people that make things. And it's a good chance for, it's a tool for the community to kind of start a new business or make neat art or build resiliency in the area. So that was kind of what the vision was. I had seen quite a few while we were traveling around and had been a part of a couple of maker spaces in places I lived in the past, and always just surprised me there wasn't one here yet.
Well, you kind of touched on it, maybe answered a little bit as well. But so,
Yeah.
what inspired the idea for that? I mean, you kind of touched on when you thought Winona could use one. What were you seeing that made you think, you know what, this is probably a good fit for the city?
I saw a couple different things, right? The art scene in Winona is strong. There is theater, there is fine arts, there's painting, there's the Marine Art Museum. The Winona Art Center River Arts Alliance have kind of gathered a lot of different artists together, but it was very much come to us with your finished product. We've got the places to exhibit and we'll do the shows and everything for you, but not for the people that necessarily needed to go and make the things and didn't have the tools or capabilities at their place. So it led to a lot of painting and drawing and fantastic things, but there's so much more to art than those pieces. And unless you're able to afford the tools and have the space, you were kind of not able to work on those pieces. There's also just such a strong college spirit around here with the two universities and the technical college. I see a lot of great graduates that end up being here for a couple of years and then leaving town, and want to find ways to keep people connected here and make them feel like, hey, I can start my small business or make something neat. And I don't have the ability to have a table saw in my apartment upstairs above living ground. So those kind of pieces were just, again, it kind of surprised me. And then when you look at all of our manufacturing that's in Winona, we've had some big businesses that have started up here. Some of them started out of their garage, others, started out with assistance from family or spinning off of another business. But it gets harder and harder to start a business that's making a product because the tools get more and more advanced, more expensive. And so in your garage is kind of a tough way to start a business anymore.
So when did the vision begin to take root in you? Was it within shortly after coming into Winona, or
Yeah,
how long has it been
I
growing in your head?
You know, I had been here about a year and a half before I put out a letter to the editor on the Winona Post and said, "Hey, I think Winona could use a makerspace," and that it was as much as I had that idea of, oh, this would be great for the community. As a community resource, it's only as good as what everyone else is looking for and wanting as well. And so, I had quite a bit of outpouring of support even early on, where I said, "Hey, we should try and figure out how to make this happen." We held a community meeting and had 30 people show up before we even had a much more than a sparkle of an idea in our heads. So, we started to get a core team kind of forming. We did a survey of the community in 2024. We started to say, well, what do you want to see in a space that's shared around manufacturing and projects and making things?
And we've kind of, I guess, danced around the edges of the space. Tell us, what is the Winona Creators Collective? What what do you envision for this years down the road? Where do you see all this going, and what is anything anybody can do here?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Winona Creators Collective is a 501(c)(3) nonprofit. We've gone through all the paperwork, so we are able to take donations and be a charity. We have a board of educators, artisans, and industry workers that are helping form this group. And our goal is to really give access and equipment. Availability to the community of Winona to make their neat art projects or start a new business or learn STEM and art education or just have a place to connect with other people. So yeah, that group kind of spun out of those original community meetings that we were having. We formed that nonprofit board back in March and started the official process of making this a charity to primarily build this space that I'm in to build a 22,000 square foot workshop that people can come and work on things. It wasn't, that ended up getting to be a little bit bigger than we were originally anticipating when we started working on this. We did have more modest ideas in mind, but the opportunity came along to kind of take a big empty space. But uh, yeah, the group kind of yeah, we kind of spawned out of the idea of this, started to get a better idea of what the community wanted to see. And we want to make sure that people that want to create new things, regardless of your background, have a space that you can go and do that, take classes and start a new project.
So, talk a little bit about the space. We kind of joked before we started here that it looks like you have a Zoom
Oh,
background,
oh
but
yeah, it does.
you're
I mean,
actually here. You're
I am
actually there.
actually in the space. So we did pick up the keys just a couple of weeks ago. So we're in the former space of Technograph. This was, did manufacturing of shampoo bottles and labels for decades in Winona. And when they left, it got used for storage for a couple of years. And it just wasn't great for storage. It was great for manufacturing. You can see on the ceiling, we have compressed air, natural gas, ventilation, power all throughout this building. And kind of as it built with Technograph over the decades, you ended up with these kind of unusual spaces in different buildings that, for anyone doing a big manufacturing project now, you just want a big empty space. For us, we actually want to chunk it up into some rooms. So the space I'm sitting in right now is part of our wood shop. So this will be where people are able to glue up projects and do hand tool work. Behind that will be the power tool section of the wood shop. So table saws, band saws, jointers, planers, where you make a lot of sawdust. And then even behind that is going to be our metal shop. So learn to weld, bend metal and build big metal statues or a trailer or whatever it is you want to create.
And you describe this as creativity and collaboration space. What does that look like then on a day to day basis? How do you
Yeah,
what do you see it like every once you get up and going? What's a day to day going to look like for you? Think?
a day to day here. Again, we're all volunteer organizations, so we will have a couple of volunteers that are in here just assisting, helping, making sure tools are working, helping us with safety materials and teaching a couple of classes. But for the most part, this is going to be a space that a member, especially someone who's gotten a 24/7 unlimited membership, is able to just come in at any time to start working on their projects. So, in maker spaces that are around the U.S., this is a novel thing in the U.S. There are other maker spaces around. You could see any one of a number of projects that are going on. So, walk in and there might be somebody working on pieces for their business. Maybe they need to, they've there's an example in San Diego. There was someone I met there that made chairs out of old wine barrels, and he didn't have any tools at home. This was where he did all his work. So he'd show up 8 a.m., he'd make his wine barrel chairs, he'd leave for the day. And then, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, then you start to see the people who we call like our weekend warriors, the people who are working 9 to 5, who then just need a place to work on a hobby, or they've got maybe a piece in their house that they're refinishing and they just don't have the equipment to sand down that door or make some old piece of trim again. And so they're here in the evenings usually. And that's also when we would have classes. So there'd be a group of maybe 4 people out learning how to weld or how to throw a pot in our pottery studio. So little bits of activity, whether it's just a solo person working on a business or a couple of people collaborating together on a project or a bunch of people trying to learn how to do an art for the first time, kind of all happening simultaneously across the studios.
Winona already has a real, I'd say, a real strong creativity base, and also entrepreneurial. You kind of talked a little bit about that before. I mean, I think you can count on a number of businesses in Winona where you mentioned people used to start them in the garage. I mean, Fastenal comes to my mind right away as a business that started in the garage. But how do you see the collective complementing and connecting people to, I guess, join together and get that into that energy to get things moving, get motivation and so forth?
Absolutely. On the business side, it kind of takes a couple of forms. So, as we were digging into the makerspace and trying to figure out what Winona actually needed, the Minnesota deed that does a lot of the employee and economic development for the state had put out some stats for Winona County as well as the other counties about where did you rank on an economic index? How many small business loans were you providing? How many businesses were popping up? And what is the makeup of those businesses and how long did they last? And the data was from about 2022. And I was shocked to see that Winona County was ranked 68th out of the 81 or 87 counties that are in Minnesota. So we're in the bottom quarter. And, we kind of were trying to figure out why that is. We're starting to still dig into that. But, I took a business startup class partially to learn what it was like, partially to get myself ready for doing this. And the closest place I could go was Red Wing. So every week I'm driving up to Red Wing and back for a class. I spent more time in the car than I did in the class. So someone that wants to start a business, they can take so many different forms, whether that's someone wants to do a big manufacturing project or someone that wants to become a hairstylist in their own studio. There are a lot of core business things that are good to figure out as you're starting that business. What's your cash flow going to look like? What's your marketing going to be? And getting a small cohort together to learn those skills from an instructor and build and beat up your business before you gotta go all in is a great chance. So we see this space not only being a place that if you had a manufacturing project that you wanted to start doing, you could start here, but also be a place of, I have this idea for a food truck and how do I start to make that business actually happen? Take some classes and work in our co-working space, or possibly you have a business in your house that you want to step up and have a place that people can drop off products or pick up. So you can rent one of our offices that we have and be able to, again, start elevating your business step by step so that it's not, oh, I need to go and sign a multi-year lease downtown, or I need to just, go get a bunch of money to learn all these things from college again, or whatever. The ability for people to take those incremental steps in starting a business is going to be, I think, a critical thing for Winona.
We're already at our halfway point. We're going to take a real quick break. It's going fast, Mark. You got a lot of great
I got a lot to
information
talk
there.
about for sure. There's
Yeah,
some excitement.
yeah, it's fun to learn about this. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk more with Mark Zocher about the Winona Creators Collective. Again, stay with us here on the Local Pulse. We'll be right back.
Oh, hey there. Didn't see ya. Jerry D from Mr. D on Amazon Prime. I'm out here with the GigaSpire Blast. Keeps my connectivity strong, so I have no interruptions. So I can watch and I can paint freely. No distractions and no interruptions.
Welcome back to the Local Pulse on HBC. I'm Dave Dicke. We're joined by Mark Zocher with the Winona Creative Collective. Am I getting that right? Winona Creators Collective. And this is a new awesome opportunity for entrepreneurs in Winona. And Mark, we talked a little bit earlier about the first half of the show about the space and what this is going to be all about. But there seems to already be a little some synergy being creative in the community. Some talk about it. Can you give us some examples of some collaborations and things that have begun to form with your project?
Absolutely. So, you know, Winona has been trying to make a makerspace in many different forms since like 2013 was the earliest evidence we could find of community members trying to get together to get it started. There was efforts from Winona State with the Laird Norton building. With this latest iteration, this attempt to bring it to make the actual space, we've had community members that are coming to us with what they learned when they were first attempting or what they feel is going to work well for the community. And as an all-volunteer organization, we're looking for all hands on deck to get this to happen. So, even physically behind us, walls are going to have to go up to build out spaces. We've been getting volunteers to come help us prep the network, get the door control access in place, and just paint walls and get the space ready. And as we've gotten to connect with volunteers, we're already getting to hear some of these stories of the networking that's happening and the chance for people to connect with each other. We did one of our first community meetings in the space to talk about volunteering, maybe about 2 weeks ago now, and it was a chance for people to see what the empty building looked like, to start to connect with each other, and this was after tons of farmers market events and one-on-one conversations and Zoom calls that we were kind of finally can get a bunch of the group together. We had probably about 50 people here. And a story that was shared with me from one of those, he's a retiree, in his mid 70s, and he was starting to feel like outside of his immediate family, he didn't have any friends around town anymore. So he showed up here and at first thought, oh, I'm a stranger here. I don't know any of these people. I this maybe was a mistake, and started having conversation. He talked with somebody that was also here as well, and she asked, what is it that you do? Oh, I, amongst other things, make instruments, ukuleles and guitars. And she immediately was like, that's something I'd really love to learn. Can I shadow you? Can we get a chance so I can see what that's like? And he lit up. He was pretty excited about that ability. And he said, this is something that's good to do hands-on. Let's do one together. And so they're planning, once that space opens, to get together and build an instrument so that she can learn some of those skills. And he's already starting to make those connections with somebody in town. And that's just, he's been telling everybody he can about the space because how much that means to him already. And we're seeing that again and again from people. Last night we were over at No Name Bar. I guess people were watching this later, it'd be a couple weeks ago, for Nerd Night. And we had 3 people that were makers in town talking about ceramics, talking about making jewelry out of gourds, about 3D printing. And there were some common things that came up around the ability for makers to be able to connect with each other, to share their craft. How many people were just so passionate to have someone listen to making gourd jewelry that means so much to her? And it was, you could just see people making those connections, starting to figure out how can we collaborate something? How can I learn a little bit about what you're doing? It's energizing. It keeps me excited about this project every day.
And of course, you're not only looking for volunteers to help you out, but you also are looking for members to come in and use the space. Tell us a little bit about how one becomes a member and what that membership to the space looks like.
We are, absolutely. So, we are a nonprofit, but we can't rely on just grants to keep all this space running. And a model that has worked well that we're emulating here is just people being able to get a monthly unlimited membership. So right now we're calling that our founders memberships. People that say, I'm excited about this. I think this is going to be helpful for me. I want to get a membership now and help make this space happen. So we've been having people sign up for either a 1-year commitment of $100 a month or $1,000 a year, and that is like our top tier, right? Those are people that are, this is their artisan craft, or they have a business that's going to be able to use those tools, or they're just so incredibly excited about keeping the space going. And that's what help pays our rent, our insurance, the expenses of keeping the space running. So it's kind of a critical piece to make sure that we can then provide all of our services for everyone else in town. We're planning to have about 60 founders members by the time we open. We're at 41 as of this morning, I believe. And we've been just really excited that people are willing to look at this and say, okay, I see the vision. We'll put some money in this and let's do this all together. So that helps us immensely. We've been actually trying to make sure, because we started selling those in July before we had finalized the lease and taken ownership of the building. So we wanted to make sure that we could commit to people to say, if this falls through, we're going to give you your money back. So even now, we're setting those funds aside. Those are for operating once we're done. So we still have those expenses of building walls, getting tools, making the space what it needs to be for everybody. So that's where we look at things like the tool drive as a chance to get tools donated in town, either for the makerspace, or we end up with a bunch of yard tools and a bunch of take-home hand tools to be able to have a community tool library for people to use. And then, once we're up and running, we expect to have also some members that are, get a day pass. Once you've done your safety orientation, you can activate your card for the day and come use the tool. And that way you're not a monthly member, but you can still take benefit of that. People who sign up for classes are kind of their individual things. So you sign up to pay for a class, you get to come in, use the space for that class, and chance to, learn some new skills, try out some of the tools that you wouldn't normally have to use before. And then we've got a batch of volunteers that we're calling our volunteer members. We're finalizing that right now, but those are my people who they have time is a more available resource than anything. So my retirees, my artisans who are able to spend about 15 hours a month helping this space grow, be experts to us on how do you maintain a table saw, or what are the safety procedures we need to follow when it comes to welding, helping us man our front desk and keep this all volunteer organization running. So so we're trying to make sure that we have access in a lot of different ways. We're also setting up a small opportunity fund, so we can also offer classes at more of a pay what you can rate. We've seen that model work with spaces like the Mankato Makerspace, and we think will work well here too.
Do you have any partnerships or sponsors or community supporters that you'd like to kind of give a little shout out to or anything?
We do. We've had some fantastic support from the community so far. Just recently, Oz Manufacturing has offered support. We've had a good donations from Watlow. Fastenal has been provided donations, as well as a lot of advice and support and connecting us with other businesses and industries. Visit Winona Marine Art Museum. We're going to be writing some grants with them. Businesses have been excited to help make this happen in any way they can. Things are a little tough at times with the economy, so sometimes they wish they could give more, do more. We understand, but they're finding ways that they can help provide volunteers, spread the word, donate tools. We had a few tools donated from Acuity Brands, was formerly Winona Lighting, that they help us go a long way. So we're excited about the support we're seeing from businesses.
I want to make sure we talk about something that's coming up on November 1st. You've got it's a fundraising event, but it sounds like it's going to be a fun fundraiser. I mean,
yes,
you're going to put the fun in fundraising on this.
We're leading hard on the fun part. There's always a place for a gala event that is a sit-down formal dinner and a speech from the president, and that just doesn't feel like us. As a maker group, we want to educate, we want to have fun. So the event is Monsters, Masks, and Makers. 2 Fathoms, I should also mention them as a great partner. They have been helping us with letting us offer events over in their space. They've been great to work with. They're lovely people over there. So they are going to be hosting us, and we've got food trucks, there'll be live band, we'll have costume contest, we're going to have artist demos. So we have the president of the Wood Turners Association is going to be there with a lathe turning a bowl live. We'll have a woman who does leather work who's making a leather mask there. There are several other members or artisans in the community that are going to be there running demos. So you can stand there and eat your food truck food and learn a bit about what they're doing, ask them questions. And then there's going to be some make and take crafts and art projects. So as part of your ticket, you get at least one of them. I believe there's a EL wire mask. So the electroluminescent, like the glowing masks, you can go and make some of those, or make a Halloween tote and weed out the stuff from the vinyl cut on the Cricut and iron it on yourself. So, we hope everyone gets a chance to eat some food, meet with some other makers, learn something, and take away a fun project. And tickets are $60. We'll be selling them online or at the door, and that proceeds help build the makerspace. We're trying to raise about $30,000 for our construction costs. There will be a small auction of things that artists are donating to. So we'll have some neat, unique items and different ways that people can help contribute to this space.
It sounds like a fun event. And then one thing we haven't talked about is, when are you going to open? What's your timeline?
So we just got our plans to the city on Tuesday. We've talked with them quite a bit. We're trying to get everything finalized, make sure that we're all okay. It's a change in occupancy for a building like this. It's a major operation. And while there's not a lot of work that has to happen, it's still a lot of boxes to check to make sure we have the right number of bathrooms and fire extinguishers in the right space, and we can make everything safe and work well. We're aiming to open by end of year. We'll know in the next week or two if that's going to have to slip a little bit, but we think that this is going to be doable. We're working to get some supplies donated for our walls, start ordering our doors, get our fire escapes cut out so that we can just keep running as fast as we can to make that deadline.
It's awesome. Mark, thank you so much for being on the show today, taking some time out. I know you're busy. You got a lot of irons in the fire. You got a lot of plates spinning.
A lot of space to fill, absolutely. But Dave, thank you for having me as well. It's great to connect on this.
So our guest today has been Mark Zocher, with the Winona Creators Collective. And we'll look forward to watching what happens here in the future. So good luck, Mark.
Thank you.
And we want to thank you for joining us today as well here on the Local Pulse. And we'll see you next time here on HBC.